Betsy DeVos and her Department of Education are being sued again for violating the law by collecting on student loans. These are loans that she's been told that she cannot collect, but that hasn't stopped her. Joining me to talk about this is Farron Cousins, editor of the Trial Lawyer magazine. What memo isn't she reading? I mean, the law is very clear. I mean, it came under the CARES Act, right?
Right.
The special law called the CARES Act. And the CARES Act said while this pandemic is working its way through what?
All you have to do, Betsy, is just not collect on these defaulted student loan or delinquent student loans. Just don't take the money. That's all you have to do for just right now.
It actually prohibits, the act itself prohibits her from doing this.
Right, and she came out on, I think it was March 25th of this year and said, okay, my department we're not going to garnish wages. We're not going to collect on these delinquent debts. We will not do any of this. We will 100% comply with the law. And then fast forward a month later, she's still garnishing wages, taking money from people who are struggling right now. So they have been forced to file a lawsuit to get the education department to stop doing this.
I hear the defense. The defense is, well, it's a big bureaucracy. Right. People didn't get the message. But this isn't the first time. They've already been put on notice that DeVos is an idiot.
Right.
Okay, so idiot woman ignores all that, right? And she knows that the act itself, all you got to do is read the act. And when you read the act, it says no collection up until September 30th of 2020, right?
Right. And you brought up a really great point there. When you're looking at any kind of, criminal prosecution, you try to establish that pattern of behavior. So all of her defenses right now are, one, it's a big bureaucracy. It's taken a long time. Number two, we're trying to contact all of these debt collection agencies that we've contracted and, oh gosh, they just can't seem to get it done. But then you look at her history. She has done this repeatedly in spite of being held in contempt of court one time. In spite of being sued, she did it with the students from Corinthian College, still garnished their wages, which she had been ordered by 2 different courts to not do it.
Well, I mean, is she just not there? I mean, really, I'm amazed at this. A 10th grader could read this act and say, Betsy, you can't do that. But 285,000 people in the U.S. are now subject to this problem, right?
Right. And the Department of Education very easily could go through their databases. They know who they've contracted to collect which student loans. It's a matter of emails or phone calls. They have the capabilities. They're choosing to not do it.
The coronavirus pandemic has left millions of Americans financially devastated, leaving them to look towards, hopefully, lawmakers for relief.
Aww.
But reports show that senators have been raking in huge profits from trading stocks. This is an ugly story.
So much money, and they just wanted it.
They just want all the money. So okay, lay it out for us. How does it happen? They have this information.
Right.
We thought that it was only a couple, right? What is it, 27?
They're like, it was okay. It wasn't really non-public information.
It was 27 Democrats, 21 Republicans, something like that.
Yes.
21 Republicans.
27 Democrats, 21 Republicans, 1 independent, sadly.
Okay. So everybody's covered, right?
Right.
Any socialists
It's not
in there?
partisan as far as we know. No,
right.
I guess greed is equal opportunity and knows no political boundaries.
Yeah.
But 1,500 stock transactions worth up to $158 million between February and April. This came as a result of a report by Campaign Legal Center. They did an analysis of financial disclosures of what these senators did and when they did it. And it's so interesting when you look at some of the connections, like you have Georgia Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler. Her husband is the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange. Could there be a connection there? But what's interesting, Pam, is what you and I were talking about. It's going to be, most experts are saying it's going to be difficult to convict them and prosecute them. Richard Burr is the big one now. Senate Intelligence Chairman Richard Burr, he's been hit with a lawsuit by Wyndham Resorts for selling 150,000 of his stock because he was getting those intelligence briefings back in February. And he was like, I was watching CNBC and their reports on health and science coming out of Asia, and through my own critical thinking skills, I just started selling all this stuff.
You know what the problem is? Anytime you hear the Department of Justice saying, oh, this is so difficult. We can't go after this insider. We can't go after this Wall Street thug. Anytime you hear that, that is like a red flag to where we're afraid to do it. If we do, we're going to get too much political heat. Now, think about this.
Right.
It's coming from the Department of Justice. They're saying, oh, you don't understand how difficult. No, it's not
do.
difficult.
Yeah.
Do your job as a prosecutor.
Right.
If you lose, you lose. But the truth is, this started out with, investigations into Richard Burr,
Right.
and as you say, Kelly Loeffler. Now it's Feinstein, it's 27 Democrats
Yeah.
and 21 Republicans and 1 independent.
Right.
And here's what's so remarkably ugly about it. Right now, we don't even know where the House of Representatives is. Pelosi has said, stay at home. They're doing nothing.
Right.
So they make this big cash grab, and then they go home.
Right.
And the average American out there is wondering, how can I feed my family? How
Right.
can I pay rent? If I hear one more time the FBI or the SEC or
Right.
Department of Justice
They're
said,
investigating.
oh, we're investigating, but this is just too difficult. No, it's not.
No, and the laws clearly define that.
They're terrified to go after these people.
You're right. And they're already multimillionaires. That's
Yeah.
another thing that came out of this study, was that most of these people, going to your point of the average American citizen, is hurting way worse than they ever thought about hurting. They're like, oh, well, I'll hurt tomorrow after I sell off some more stocks. But financially, these people are already very wealthy. And so when you start getting into the nitty gritty of some of these laws, there's the law that applies to all of us, including members of Congress. It was Rule 10b-5 is basically the one that says,
A special law.
well, this one was just for everyone. Hey,
Yeah.
guys, you can't take private information, insider information, if you will, and use it to cash in. It's illegal, including you too, Congress. But they were doing it so much that they had to come up with their own special
Right.
law, and that was the Stock Act of 2012. And Senator Gillibrand is the one who helped write that. And Vice recently followed up with her about her reaction to this, slew of sales that you've seen of stocks involving all these members of Congress. And she just was saying how basically appalling that it was, that it
Yeah.
seemed very transparent, obvious to her that they were taking advantage
how-
of insider information. So she wants to tighten it up even further.
Well,
but how a shame that you had to make a special law so that Congress had to obey the rules that the rest of us have
right.
to obey.
They are. We can't trust Congress.
Right.
To the fact that we have to tell them, this is your special law,
Right.
this is written for you because you're
Right.
a bunch of congressional thugs. And
Greedy.
so now, this is the thing to watch on Gillibrand. Gillibrand's going to come out and she's going to make these public statements. Watch what she does behind the scenes, right?
She going to sell stocks too?
No, she's not going to sell stocks, but it's going to be, she's going to soft sell the idea, 27 Democrats, right?
Right.
21 Republicans. There's too much political impact
That's right.
with those kinds of numbers for the Department of Justice to do anything. Not just Barr. I mean, this is very typical of the Department of Justice.
Right.
The prosecutors, these lifetime prosecutors, they're fat, dumb, and happy
Right.
in their position. They don't want to take any risks unless it's low-hanging fruit. You watch this case.
Which is usually the average person.
It's the average guy out on
Is
the
the
road
low-hanging
who has
fruit.
no
You see
political
it through all
power.
parts of the criminal justice system.
Watch on this. This is exactly what's going to happen. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks,
okay?
Pat.
This is an important message for our nation's veterans. If you served our country in the military between 2003 and 2015 and you suffered significant hearing loss, you might be entitled to compensation. Because the hearing protection you were issued may be at fault for the damage you suffered, but you need to act now. Your time to make a claim might be limited. Learn more at levinlaw.com/earplugs.